Chris Landry. I'm so excited to talk to you. I hope you're doing well, sir.
I'm doing well. More importantly, I hope you're doing well. How you feeling?
Man, I'm great.
Awesome.
Much better than last week. I am recovering, and I'm going to milk this for all it's worth with my wife.
You got to do that.
The doctor, he's sitting there explaining to me, saying, you cannot pick up 5 pounds, no more than 5 pounds for 6 weeks, and I was just eating it up. So,
well, when I had heart surgery, they told me the same thing. Anything heavier than a carton of milk, then it's too heavy.
That's what he told. He used the same words. He used the exact same words.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you're doing better.
Hey, no doubt, man. But I've been spending a lot of recliner time. You know what I mean?
Well, good. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's perfect to sit in a recliner, watch football.
Yeah.
I think it's good timing, personally. I think you deserve a lot of credit for it.
Hey, but talking about, like you watch football hours and hours.
Yeah.
I watched football on Saturday for 14 hours. I thought I was in heaven, man. I mean,
you know what? I do. But I'm going to tell you something, Ryan. I must be getting old. And listen, I am not complaining, folks. But, get up on Saturday. Saturdays in the fall are the best, for me anyway. Get up and, I got some national radio to do, preview the college day. And then I'm in Central Time Zone, so 11 a.m. the first game starts. And the games go on from 11, and I don't get done till like 2 in the morning by the time the Pac-12 games are done. So I'm like you. It's like 14, 16 hours, whatever it is. Get up. Man, I'm going to tell you, I got to be a good little boy to get up and go to church early Sunday morning because then I got the NFL. The NFL is a little bit more structured because all the games are at 12 or like 3:15, and then you got the Sunday night game. By Sunday night, I'm tired because I'm not exercising. I'm not moving. I'm moving my hand making notes, but I just feel like just a wet noodle. Like, oh my God, I need to get out and walk, and I haven't done so for the whole weekend. But it is a lot of fun. I have to admit.
Chris, let's start here in Tuscaloosa. Another performance from Tua Tagovailoa, record-setting day, career best for him here in Tuscaloosa. Just your overall thoughts on Alabama, Texas A&M. How did it grade out on film?
Well, it was very impressive. I mean, as I kind of thought it would be, they dominated. Tua's just phenomenal. He's got uncanny ability to put the ball in spots that it's, I got asked today, how do you teach that? And you really don't. I can look at him mechanically and, there's some things that you can correct somebody's, not correct, but you can improve somebody's accuracy with mechanics to some degree, footwork. But he, for the most part, you either have that uncanny ability or you don't. And he's got it. He'd probably been a great pitcher where he could paint the corners of the plate, and he breaks all the molds of the left-handed quarterback. The whole lefty-loosey, that ball comes out and he fires it. But he has the ability to put the ball in spots that is very, very impressive and nearly impossible, as we can see. Certainly the people that have played him, been impossible to cover. So I'm very curious to see, going forward, what they do and how they work the running game a little more. And we can get into that. But I do think, some people have asked me, some coaches have say, hey, Alabama's running game doesn't look the same. Their offensive line doesn't look the same in the run game. Well, let me address that. They're not going to. They're throwing the football too much to really establish coming off the ball. The run game is about the impact, the total impact that you have on a consistent basis. Because they're more of a passing team, they're not as good coming off the ball. They don't have that type of impact because they're not doing it as often. Going to be very curious to see here in this stretch. I'm going to call this week the October stretch because I know it's the end of September. But and I know this is rat poison, but they've got 4 teams that they should dominate, and I'm very curious to see how much they run and how effectively they run. We know they can throw it. Now it's almost become, hey, can they salt the game away? So I'm curious, Ryan, if we might not have a 30-10 type of game instead, where it's a compressed run the football. I don't know. Maybe the folks in T-Town won't be happy with that. Maybe they're just, accustomed to score 50 points. And why does that matter? Well, I think it matters in game control as it gets towards the better opponent, to where if you're not as effective throwing it, if somebody can play split safeties and reduce the throwing windows and you're a little bit off, or you drop a couple of balls, or whatever the case may be, you can't just snap your finger and become a great running team again. That's something you have to work. So that's something that I'm looking forward to watching as we go forward, to see how that develops and where it goes.
All right, your friend and somebody that you have worked with by the name of Nick Saban, following the game on Saturday, pleaded with the media to provide some negative. I've never seen a coach do this in all the years I've been covering college football. He pleaded with the media to write and talk negative about his football team, where he could show them, Chris, I'm going to put it up on a tee, man. Where do you think this team needs to improve? Where do they need to take that next step?
Well, there you go. I just gave you one. Run the ball better. Got to do it better. Show me that you can dominate people at the line of scrimmage more frequently. I know that they've moved people off the ball to some degree, but they could do it better. So do that. All right, I want to see more consistency out of the field goal kicking unit. Hey, pretty good last week. Made a nice 40-plus yard field goal. Let's do that. In a close game, can you make field goals? Can you do it under pressure? I want to see that cleaned up. Those are two areas that you can improve upon. Defensively, look, you're making some mental errors there. You still got some issues there. I think your defensive line could play off of blocks a little bit better. So there you go. I've given them a few things. Make that tape. Have Marquise got that tape and send it to him. That'll be good. That's a start there. We need to get better.
All right, Chris, let's go across the state, because we've very often heard you talk about Gus and coaching. What type of really problems do you see facing the Auburn Tigers as they move deep into this 2018 season?
They're a running team. That's what they're due. That's what they do. That's their DNA. That's what makes them what they are. And they're not a good running team right now. They're not playing well up front. The guards are adequate. The tackles are struggling, and they can't run the football like they normally do. And so now, I'm going to give the caveat that if you study Auburn, their running game, their run blocking, and their overall run game success gets better as the year goes along. So we're still in September. We'll see how much better they get. Will that continue this year? I'm not predicting, but I'm just saying that they have. They were better in November last year than they were in September. But I'm going to just tell you, they've got some problems and on the offensive line. Now, even in pass protection, their tackles struggled some against Arkansas. I know that was a gaudy score. So if you're not watching the game and you're looking at, I think it was 34-3, it was a blowout. They dominated them. No, they didn't. They had a little bit more trouble on tape with Arkansas than they should have. So that's my whole thing is I don't know how good they're going to be running the football. Right now, they're not good, and I think they've got a problem. And they're going to have to play better in a couple of weeks against Mississippi State. That Mississippi State defensive front, which is talented and deep, struggled against Kentucky, which has a really good offensive line. This Auburn's offensive line is not as good as Kentucky's right now. So that's where they are. Defensively, they've got talent. They make plays. They didn't allow Arkansas any points. But for Auburn to be Auburn and to do some things, turn their season around, they're going to have to be pretty good, which is, by the way, one of the reasons why I'm not buying into all the LSU hype either about how good they are and how good that game is going to be at the end of the year. I'm not ready to. The defense is really good, but I'm not sure how good either one of those teams are. I can tell you this: through week 4, here's my summation to this point. There is not a clear number 2 in the West, and there's not a clear number 2 in the East in the SEC. There's not. I know Kentucky's been the most impressive in terms of what they've done, but I'm not ready to sit there and say they're the second best team in the East. And in the West, I mean, look, you can make a case for a few teams, but they're both sides are distant seconds. It's Alabama, it's Georgia, and I didn't think Georgia played all that well last week by their standards, but they're still far and away the best.
We're talking to Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. And Chris, let me go back here just for a couple of minutes. When you look at LSU, when you look at number 5 in college football, is that tell you a lot about college football, that a team like that we still don't know a lot about is ranked that high? I mean, do you think this team will fall off, or do you think they could sustain this success? I mean, could they make some adjustments and continue to be one of these teams? I mean, because we're counting on them for a challenge here in Tuscaloosa. I mean, we're counting on that first week of November of Alabama having to go to Baton Rouge to be a challenge for this football team. We're depending on LSU.
Well, they're going to lose to Georgia on the 13th. They're going to lose to Alabama. And they're going to lose at least one other game to a team that people don't expect. Maybe it's Florida. Hey, maybe they get some points scored on them early against Ole Miss, and it's a little bigger struggle. I don't think they'll lose Saturday night, but it wouldn't surprise me. Mississippi State's at home at A&M at the end of the year. They'll end up with a 9-3, 8-4 record like I thought they would. Let me explain how I see college football to this point in this year. I see Alabama as the best team. I thought Georgia was really close to Alabama. This past week, I'd say there's a little separation between LSU and Alabama, just based upon how they've looked on tape to this point, stacking one game off the other. Then I think there's Ohio State, then there's Clemson, in that order. And then I think there's a big drop-off. You can take the 5th team, and you can take the 20th team, and you can flip them, put them in a hat, and they're all pretty good. No, LSU's not the 5th best team. I don't know that Oklahoma is. I don't know that Stanford is. I don't know that Notre Dame is. Penn State can make a statement by playing Ohio State well or maybe even beating them. But I don't. If I were to tell you based on tape, outside of those 4 teams that I mentioned, I think Oklahoma, I think Penn State, I definitely are better than LSU. I think LSU's defense is really good. I don't think they're as good on offense. And I still say, with all the troubles that I saw with Auburn and I just enumerated, those things were real. They outplayed LSU, and they just, for the second year in a row, blew a double-digit lead. And I think people are all caught up into, man, they beat Miami, they beat Auburn. That's great. That sounds good on paper. But when you study film and you know how to evaluate that it's great. All you can do is play who you play. I'm just telling you, they don't look on tape like the 5th best team. But I can say that about a few teams. I would say Oklahoma, even with their tough go against Army, would beat LSU. Stanford would have a good chance. Notre Dame could. Penn State would. But I think LSU, is in that group. But I think you could put them 10th or 12th or 15th or 5, and it doesn't matter, Ryan. There's that much of a gap in my view.
So we continue. I mean, how much of it is it a challenge when you look at Alabama? Where do they find the motivation to get better? Is this where Coach Saban is, the way that he handles the, quote, process?
Yeah.
This is where this is very influential because of the teams that, you're not going to find motivation in that schedule that you look at for the next few weeks here in Tuscaloosa.
Look, I call it playing through your schedule. What it means is just that. Think about this for a second. If you demand that every practice, every meeting, you're at optimal efficiency, alertness, well, then why the heck wouldn't you expect it against ULL or Arkansas or anybody else at Tennessee? If you don't play to your standards and you develop bad habits, when you call upon it in a big game at the end of the year, you just can't snap your finger. You don't flip a switch. I know I was joking, but yeah, by their standards, they could run the football a little bit better compared to what they've done in the past. And that's only because in the past they've relied on the run more. They can make more big plays in the passing game. You don't want to restrict that, but you want to make sure that you get better running the football so that when you get a lead, if you don't want to try to, engage in a shutout, you want to compress the game a little bit, you need to be able to do that. Defensively, all right, we talk about it. The schedule to this point hadn't been all that challenging. But you know what? At week 1, Patrick Surtain wasn't quite the player that he is now. He was as talented, but now he's becoming more adept at staying on top of routes, making adjustments. So all those little things, I call games within the game, that's why he's so focused on late in the game. It's not that he's concerned about protecting a, 48-3 game and he doesn't want to give up a touchdown. He doesn't want that unit to give up a touchdown, because what if that unit has to defend the goal line and get off the field in a one-possession game at some point? Well, you got to play that now as if it is a one-possession game. And while the opponent may not be as good, you still need to play with good technique. You still need to play with the attention to detail and the effort and the focus. And if you don't and you let up, it becomes easier to do it the next time and the next. And when you need to call upon it, it's not there because you haven't made that a part of your DNA, which you do every snap.
Chris, I know you've been asked about it a lot today, but I want to ask you about Kelly Bryant and really to focus in on this 4 games. And in your opinion, is this good for college football? Did we make the right move, giving them flexibility here? Just your overall thoughts involving the Kelly Bryant 4 games, transferring mid-season and all. Just your overall thoughts.
Well, my thoughts are when they made this rule, what I said was, and I talked about it on the website and on the podcast, I said, there's going to be unintended consequences. And, yeah, listen, I think he is within his right to decide that he wants to transfer. But here's my experience as a coach. There have been oodles of players that I've coached that wanted to transfer. Coach is coaching me too hard. I'm not happy with it, whatever. My girlfriend's not talking to me, whatever. They all have come back, the ones that transferred, said, I wish I would have stuck it out. So my point is he has every right to do it, and giving him that right is fine. But what are we teaching kids? And this is where the coach comes out of me. So I apologize. That's me.
That's what we want. That's what we're looking for.
Okay. But what are we teaching these kids? Okay, Kelly, you've done a really good job. You've worked hard. Yeah, you've done everything they've asked you to do. Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback, and they're making the move at Clemson the same way that Alabama made the move with Tua. Because the best chance for Clemson to win a national championship is to get Trevor Lawrence more consistent and gives them more of a passing attack that is more capable of winning in the playoffs. So, I mean, what are you saying? What are we teaching kids? If you get beat out, just quit. Just go somewhere else. To me, that's not how I was raised. Now I'm all for a kid if he's mistreated. Dabo Swinney could have started that kid this week. And then he could have started Trevor Lawrence the next week. And you know what? The red shirt's gone. He didn't do that. He was stand-up. He was honest. He told him, in fact, I think he did it. He might have wanted to start Kelly one more game. But I think he told him, look, this is where we need to go. You're a big part of it. You stick it out. And he doesn't want to do it. Okay, he doesn't want to do it. That's his business. I think he's going to regret it personally. I don't think he's going to go and be a part of a championship program in the future. Maybe he will. I don't know. We've got college football free agency, and that's what we got. And my concern is that we're going to have kids going forward that are going to say, you know what? I don't like my position coach. I don't like this. I'm not going to play. No. I played 3 games. I'm not playing 4. I'm not playing a 5th game. I want my red shirt, and I'm going to go somewhere else. That's what we voted in now. That's what we've got. So, hey, it may be fun. It may be exciting. It's college free agency. Where is he going to go? Is he going to end up at Arkansas? Is he going to end up at UCLA? Is he going to end up at Auburn? Yeah. Hey, let the speculation begin. I don't know. But the point is I think the fundamental part of what we're teaching these kids, I think, is being lost here. Fight it out. You realize if there's one injury, one snap away that Kelly Bryant's the starter again in the second half next week, but he's not because he's gone. How about Nebraska? Kid left. Good young quarterback. Adrian Martinez won the job. I quit. Adrian Martinez gone week 2. They don't have a quarterback. Clemson's season's probably done if Trevor Lawrence goes down. That's where we're headed, and it could be your team next that's affected by it. And I'm okay with giving the kid a right. They graduate early. That's fine. But quitting in the middle of the season, I don't know. I think you make your decision, you stick it out. I'm more okay with it, Ryan, at the end of the season. But I just don't like it at all during the season. Start what you finish. It's just my feeling. It doesn't make me right. That's just how I feel.
But, Chris, do you think we're going to get into a situation where there's going to be players that now refuse to go in even more? And I know we've heard the rumor different places, but, I mean, isn't that going to become like a norm that we're going to have players that say, I'm not playing, Coach, I'm done. I'm going to be here, I'm going to be on your roster, but I'm not going in that game.
Yep, that's what we're going to have. That's what we're going to have. That's where we are with it. And you think about it. And, again, I promise, folks, I'm going to get off my soapbox in a hurry, but it's going down from the NFL. What do we get in the NFL? How about you hear what James Harrison had to say about Le'Veon Bell? James Harrison, Le'Veon Bell made a mistake. He should have showed up to Pittsburgh. This is the next NFL player, a really good one. Le'Veon Bell should have showed up at Pittsburgh, he said, and just practice, collect his money, and then on Saturday come up with a mysterious injury so that basically he can collect his $860,000 a week, but still protect himself. He said that's what he should have done. That's where we are today. And I get it. NFL players, they have a limited amount of time to make their money, but to me, there's the integrity, the responsibility of your teammates. It's becoming all about me. Well, this is now filtered down to college. I want mine. Look, I was recruited. I told I was the guy. Well, guess what? Somebody beat you out. You're not guaranteed anything but an opportunity. And you could do everything to the best of your ability and still not be the guy because somebody beat you out. And if you're going to quit, I'm going to tell you, Kelly Bryant is not an NFL talent. But if he were, the first thing I'd want to know about him is what type of mental makeup, what type of heart did this guy have to quit on his team during the season? Because that's I think what he did. I think he had a chance. I thought he did a good job, but obviously not enough to keep the job, so he's going to leave now. I don't know. Yet I understand in certain circumstances a guy should be able to be free to leave. He doesn't feel like he's given the opportunity, whatnot. That's fine. Move on. That's understandable at the end of the year. But during the season, basically, to say it, listen, I'm old school, so I'm not going to like it, and I apologize if that offends. That's the old school coming out of it.
Chris, take a couple of minutes here and talk about the website. You guys are offering something very cool. Talk about the website, how folks can connect with you guys.
Well, it's obviously we're in our season mode. So what we're doing, obviously, is breaking down the games. Monday and Tuesday are big film room reviews. So what we have up there, and even early Wednesday, and we've finished them all up now. So the Alabama film breakdown, the Tennessee, whatever. Everybody, we've got them all broken down. And same with the NFL. As we are doing now, we're getting to put up the previews of this week's game. So it's a way to really go inside the film room and to see the whys of what happened and some of the inside information and details. College football, the NFL, we do both of that. We preview the games, we review the games, we keep you up to date on all the inside information. What we're doing now to help out the fine folks in the Carolinas who suffered from Hurricane Florence is we're donating 50% of all membership payments. And, again, the membership is less than a magazine subscription. But whatever you decide, try it out for a month, or 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever you want to try, we'll donate 50%. And let me tell you how I do it, because I'm not as comfortable just giving money away and not knowing where it's gone. We have a good group here down in South Louisiana called the Cajun Navy. They did this in Houston. Of course, they did it in our Baton Rouge floods. I know they went to the Tuscaloosa area after the tornadoes. They're in the Carolinas. They have a group. They load up 18-wheelers on a daily basis, and now I think they're still doing it on a daily basis, but and they'll soon go to every other day. They'll load supplies, and they will bring it, and they will distribute it. They also go out and cook jambalaya and do things to help those folks out. So what I do is just take the money, and I go. They give you a list of what folks need: deodorant, toothpaste, socks. I mean, sad, people lose a lot, and so I just go to Walmart, Target, wherever I can get the stuff, get it, and spend the money and bring it direct to the Cajun Navy. So it's just, listen, it's not much, but whatever I can do to help, I want to do it. And it's just a way for somebody to check out the website, enjoy it, and know that some of what they contribute, 50%, is going to go to help those in need.
LandryFootball.com. Chris, as always, thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great afternoon.
You do the same and continue to feel better.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate your thoughts last weekend, this week. Thank you again.
You bet.